blood pressure issues, back issues. So in 97, I had my first back surgery. In 98, I had another, and they both failed. I felt so worthless and so angry, like I've never smoked or drank in my life, because this church is my life. And I just couldn't understand, when we try to live right for God, why do these things afflict you? What's the answer? They say don't question God. How do you not question God? Who do you question? So things kind of went downhill for me then. The blood pressure issues, which was the biggest issue in my life. Everybody would always say, was your husband beating you? Are you in a bad relationship? I said, no, it's far from it, because my husband is there for me. When I had my stroke in 09, they found the brain aneurysm November of 09, and they clipped it in Little Rock. But the week after I got back home is when I had the major stroke. Not remembering anything, just waking up on a respirator with your hands tied down. Not being able to talk and not being able to walk. And the one thing I do remember, the last thing Brother Hart told me. He says, Cheryl, God's not done with you yet, and He's kept you here for a reason. And that has stuck with me ever since that time. Have I contemplated suicide before? Once in my lifetime I did. And I literally woke up in the middle of the night, Utah sleeping beside me, and I literally poured a whole bottle of pills in my hand, because I didn't want him to have to live with somebody like this. They had to struggle from day to day. But then at that time, I just felt something around me, and I cried out to God and asked Him to forgive me, that I could not do that to my family, because I had already put them through turmoil that I would never put anybody through. What I've seen it do to my kids and my husband. I have to put comical in here too, or I'll cry the whole time. But I'll catch my husband doing this to me at night time, just to see I'm breathing, okay? Or he'll do this to make sure I'm breathing. Because I've already died on him 3 times. And I gotta thank Sister Jean for that. Because they had just moved me out of ICU. And he was trying to feed me, and Sister Jean said, she's just really not acting right. You might call a nurse in here. Well, I had actually coded on them. Well, I was doing CPR, and I ended up back in ICU. But that time, you hear people saying, oh, I seen a bright light. I seen this figure. That was not my case at all. What I seen, all I did was see white. There was no figures, none whatsoever. But then all of a sudden everything went pitch black. Never seen nothing. But I could hear things, and I knew they wasn't good. And I just know if I had gone that night, I would have been lost. Because after I had my stroke, I was so angry with God. Because I just kept asking God, why? You know, we've been in church all our life. I've tried to believe God all my life. And I just couldn't understand it. And it was hard when the first time I got out of bed after my stroke, basically falling on my face because I couldn't walk because of my left side. I had to learn to ride all over again. So yeah, it gets frustrating. And I do still get frustrating. I want to be uplifting to people. I want to be an encouragement to people. Because I'm not going to give in. I did fall out of church for a year. Because I was so mad. But I'm not letting the devil get the upper hand on me ever again. Trying to contain myself. And this man right here, I mean, what husband would stand beside somebody that has went through so much and put him through so much that he's still with me? We'll be married 33 years in June. You know, when we got married, we did become as one. Because I don't know what we would do without one another, because we wouldn't be whole. He's always encouraging me. And that boy right there, has encouraged me so much. As I call him my little preacher boy. Because he's preached to me plenty of times. I've got to talk back when we were young. Alfred. We always joke when we were young, and we had the church buses, and we'd go skating, and such wonderful memories, because he's like a dad. But yeah, we were skating, and we both fell down pretty hard. And it's a memory I'll always hold. And I can't see my words. You know, this is our church family. And like I said, a lot of y'all know us from the beginning. But this is our church now. And we can't let it die. You know, if I didn't have this church, I don't know what would happen. because I draw my strength here around God's people. I love every one of y'all so much. I'm not done yet, I'm just checking my clock. I know I wasn't on a lot of medication. That almost drew my family away from me. I almost lost my family over it. And I would rather go out of my mind than lose my family. I have bad days. I'm sure everybody in here does. But it's not worth losing my family. I want to be an encouragement to people. I don't want people to look at me and say, oh, poor Cheryl, you know, look what you've been through. Friday night, on Friday, I went to the doctor. Got there at 1 o'clock p.m. Didn't get out of my doctor's till 2:30 a.m. The whole time I was in there, they said, oh, you poor thing. And I said, no. I said, I'm blessed. It's not for me. I said, I'm blessed. I'm still here. And if I can encourage anybody in here, I said, don't give up. I said, because God's there. And literally, when you're sitting there 13 and a half hours, you can testify to people. I just want y'all to know that I love everybody in here. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a Bible lit person because that part of my brain is gone. But I encourage anybody that wants to talk to me. I'll do my best to say the right things to you. And just keep praying for me, because I do have bad days. But I'll do my best to be here. I don't care how bad I feel. I don't care if I'm crippled or if I have to come in a wheelchair. I think about Bob being here last Sunday. As bad as he felt, he wanted to be here with God's people. And he did. I just want everybody to know that I love you guys. Pastor Benez, Sister Linda's, you know, everybody. A lot of the new people I'm just getting to know. And I just appreciate and love everybody.
We love you too.
Get up here. I'm not even all that stuff today.
When backing up to when she had her strokes, she had an aneurysm that we went to Little Rock, and she had a clip put in to clip the aneurysm. And when we got back home, after she had been in recovery for like 5 days, we got back home, and that night we thought maybe she just took a muscle relaxer, and but she was just limp, so we had to physically take her and put her in a little wheelchair and wheel her to the bed. and we thought she was okay. She was just tired, and muscle relaxer was taking effect. But now I know that it was the beginning stages of her strokes. The next morning, I got her up and walked her into the front room and kind of sat her down on the couch, but she didn't sit normally like we would normally sit on the couch. She just kind of flopped down into a little position like she was asleep. So I thought, well, I'm gonna let her sleep, and I went in there to start fixing some breakfast, and about 30 minutes later I went in there and she was still in the same position. And well, I tried waking her up. I was patting her on the face, shaking her, hollering at her, and she would not respond. So I called the emergency people to come out, and just so happens one of the police officers that worked there was also an ambulance driver. He happened to be in Van Buren, and he heard it was my house, and he said he booked it on over there because it wasn't that long before he got it. He was in Van Buren when he heard the call. One of the first responders is a teacher I work with, and but she was not responding whatsoever. You know, I could rub her, you know, they do a little chest rub deal, and all she would do was just move her mouth or something. She had no response. And the teacher that looked at her, the first responder, he was shining light in her eyes, and he looked at the other EMT and he said, there's no act, they're not dilating. So all I could think of is, oh no, she's brain dead. And so they had to, because of the way our couch and stuff was, they had to put her in a blanket or a sheet and lay her in it and maneuver her out the door. And then we went to the hospital. While we were at the hospital, for a real long time, I didn't get to see her because they were working on her. And when they finally said I could go back, the doctor told me, he said, well, I'm telling you, we had to put a tube down her. And she was so constricted, her anatomy is so constricted that it took them about an hour to get a tube down her. And that's why she has to have all these esophageal stretches, because her anatomy is just so constricted that when she swallows food and stuff, it chokes her. And that's why she had a feeding tube for 10 years, but it got to the point of where she would rather go through the stretches than to go through that feeding tube. And does it give her a lot of problems, especially when it come out, then she'd have to go back and have it done again. But while she was in the hospital, you know, I went in there and I was trying to talk to her because she was still unresponsive. And I told her, I grabbed her hand and I said, Cheryl, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand. And she squeezed my hand. So I was thankful for that. But while she was in the hospital, they put her, well, she was in the hospital so many times, Sister Gina, that one time that you were there. She had just got out of ICU and they put her into a regular room. And her blood pressure was really low. And I was trying to feed her while Sister Jean was there, and Sister Jean said, well, she just really doesn't look good, so you need to get a nurse to check her out. And then Sister Jean left shortly after she told me that. And I did, and I got a nurse in there. And Sister Jean, I'm sure didn't have time to make it to the elevator, but they had code blue her in the room before you got to the elevator, I'm sure. She was so limp, I was trying to feed her, and then when the nurse got in there and looked there, and the nurse just popped her down on a level and started doing chest compressions. After about 8 or 10 chest compressions, they called code blue, and I guess there was 20 people in that room in about 10 seconds. And but while they were doing chest compressions on her, you know, I could just hear her. She said, "What are y'all doing?" And she had woke up or come to after that, because the nurse had checked and said there's no pulse and she's not breathing. Well, after a little bit, she said, "I'm choking." And so one of the male nurses was right there. He said, "Is there anything in your mouth?" She said, "Well, I don't know." And he looked in her mouth and said, "Here, spit this out." And what it was all the food I was trying to feed her. She was not swallowing, or couldn't swallow it. So maybe I'm the cause of it. I don't know if it was because of the low blood pressure that caused that, or if because maybe she might have been choking and lost consciousness for not being able to breathe and having the low blood pressure. I'm just thankful she's with me today. And I just want to thank all the church people for all their prayers and all their thoughts and help that they've given us throughout the years. And we're just glad to be here to be able to do this testimony.
Amen. I just got to tell you, I have the best husband anybody can ever have, because he has stuck beside me through the worst of times and the best of times. I have some awesome kids. Beautiful, beautiful granddaughter. We love you guys.
Thank you, Cheryl. Wasn't that wonderful to not to hear all of our problems, but how God's been with her? And God's using her. He is. He's using her. And we thank God for that. Any announcement? Anything anyone else?